Okay, I think today we were wanting to talk about energy blockages. You know, the whole reason why we are not enlightened is because we have energy blockages. In a way, energy blockages are like the movie The Dark Crystal. The Dark Crystal was made by Jim Henson many, many moons ago. And in it, you've got this enormous crystal which channels the light of God through it and into the planet. And yet this dark crystal has a flaw. A shard, a small amount of the crystal has come out and it's been taken somewhere else. And because of that, the whole of the races of the world have been split in two between the nasty Skeksis and the meditative other people. Now, what happens when the elf, the gelfling, comes in with the shard and plugs it back into the crystal is that the light of God comes through the crystal and fertilizes all the rest of the planet, such that these nasty Skeksis and the good people are all brought together as one. I think that's the whole point about enlightenment. When you become one, when there is only one. Because if there's more than one, then you have what is called a superego, a subpersonality. And what we found in energy enhancement is that these energy blockages are formed by trauma. So I was talking about energy blockages and how they are formed in past lifetimes. And I think in this particular video, we're going to be talking about how these blockages were formed in Ganesha and formed in Lawrence and formed in Lynne in past lifetimes. And I think that Ganesha was saying that his was formed when he was tortured in a really bad way in a past lifetime. I mean, it's enough to make anybody change their course. And then there was another one with Lawrence where he was in Babylon and he'd been doing bad things, you know, because Babylon is known for the start of Satanism and the start of pedophilia and the start of human sacrifice and rituals and blood drinking and sacrifice. Well, the people of Babylon were into that kind of thing because they were all pagans. They hadn't even heard of Jesus Christ in those days. They haven't heard of the Sacred Heart of Christ, which would not allow these things to be. Lawrence, after 100 lifetimes of doing the bad thing, suddenly stood up in front of the whole of the council of Babylon and said, you know, we didn't ought to be doing these things. And because of that, they took him, they tortured him in a really bad way for a day or two. And he shuttled off this mortal coil for another 20 lifetimes of revenge and karma. Anyway, he'll tell you all about that. But I just wanted to come in and start off the whole proceedings with this story of Jim Henson's Dark Crystal and what it means. Because it's like that, you know. When you become one, when you have integrated your mind from all of its disparate parts, pulling you in different directions, saying, let's do this, let's do that. No focus, no willpower, no, I'm going to do this. I've started, so I'll finish.
Okay. We did a 7-step on this on our subpersonalities. So it was a triple session: Lynne, Lawrence, and me. And we're gonna talk about what happened when, as of three, so that was really big energy. What happened when we grounded my subpersonalities and what we saw in each step. So it felt like 10 years of inner child's meditation in 1 hour. So it was pretty tiring. And in the 7th step, there was something before the big past life. with the. Do you remember that?
Well, I remember Lawrence saw the color yellow, and he was talking about what he was seeing, and then he got deeper into seeing it as. I need some help, Lawrence. Can you remember?
Yellow, then orange, then red, then maroon.
Right.
Gradually it got deeper and deeper in color.
Maroon is base chakra.
Yeah, so we connected the colors to the different chakras, and then
we started off thinking because I say it as a joke, but it was the genuine symptom of a blockage. I don't want any trouble as a joke, but then it was actually a symptom. It was actually a base chakra thing, and eventually we found a past life where I feel like it was. It's like, imagine the scenery of like King Arthur or something, but there was some guards who were bad, and I think they did something really wrong, and I was what I felt was a really nice guy at the time, and I had a good life ahead of me, like a really good girlfriend or wife to be or something like that, some perfect life, and they framed me for it, and I think I went through a nasty hour or two, and died. So I had this hang up that I was gonna
be blamed for something that he didn't do, and that's what is the root of this expression. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
We feel that he.
I don't want any trouble.
I don't want any trouble. Right.
But also I noticed I always avoid blame as well. Like I hate kind of. I don't know whether it counts as well as not liking compliments, but it's kind of a lot of blame shifting. So if you know anyone who doesn't like accepting blame, then a similar past life might have happened to them, and so grounding it like this was the cure.
And I notice when somebody say you did something wrong, you get
the blockage
for
comes up.
something very little.
Yeah.
Today, this morning, I noticed.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna get tortured and killed like on the spot.
Yeah, so we felt that in this life as a young boy, Ryan was a very sensitive boy and very much wanting to sort of be, I guess, invisible, live in the shadows of life. And he was also afraid of being blamed for things that he didn't do, so he kind of tried to just not be in a position where he would get blamed for something.
Like do nothing.
Yes, yeah, like do nothing, sort of just try to be invisible is the best way to describe it.
May I have the camera? So Ryan Ganesha here, he felt that what I saw was this little, what I thought was a black magician, and as I dissolved away the negative karmic mass, I found a little boy. And I think the little boy had been through a situation where he had seen his mother, father, and maybe his family killed in some kind of raid on his village, and the village had been burnt to the ground. It was a horrific situation. And the boy had taken on a sort of persona just because he couldn't think of any other way to protect himself. And eventually, I couldn't clean this boy. It wasn't just that he had negative karmic mass, but he was twisted in some way. I couldn't, like, not just like this, but like on a very subtle level, he was twisted. So Lord Buddha and Jesus came down and took him up a ways and worked on him for a while. And then right now he's in a hospital way up high, just recuperating. He's okay now, but it's going to take a few days probably for him to get over this and come back to Ganesha.
I want to say something. Okay. I thought it was interesting that I think psychologists, counselors, anyone into psychology would find this interesting because everybody talks about schizophrenia and it's different sides to people, bad habits, bad behaviors, bad routines, just general badness in people. And this, from a counseling point of view, would have taken hours and hours, maybe months, years, maybe even never,
lifetime.
Yeah, of time to
They
heal.
never would have got this deep.
And we did this deep stuff in just 1 hour with energy enhancement meditation.
Very good.
So hopefully counselors and psychologists will find this interesting.
Good.
So, what happened? Are you sorted?
I feel like I've been in like a car crash or something, so I need like a sleep. You know?
Sleep.
Yeah, I need like 2 weeks of sleep or something. But I think it's the main inner child was that one.
That's great.
Yeah, but that's a good thing. Yeah, I'm integrating still.
And I think that Lynne was mentioning that you kept zoning out during the whole process.
Yeah, I kept blacking out. I know it was because one of the steps I was attached to some of the blockages, so I kept blacking out and forgetting to keep grounding. So I was actually sitting back letting other people do it as like because I was lazy or something. But yeah, there was attachment there and I had to learn and let go to get
Actually,
there.
our whole problem with this step was that Ryan was attached to this subpersonality in a way, and he didn't want to let it purify. So we had a sort of a struggle with Ryan and the subpersonality, and eventually it all worked out.
So what is this about people being attached to their subpersonalities?
Well, in this case, this subpersonality had been a personality that got in between Ryan and anything that was not working very well for him or anything bad. It would get in between and insulate him from.
It protected him.
It protected him, yes.
Ah.
And so that's why he didn't want to let it go because he would feel, and I'm sure he will feel a little bit naked at first, without this.
The protection.
Yes.
You know what appeared in my face or in my head when you described that? The Spider-Man with this guy. Venom.
Of the
Like
mask.
Venom.
Venom's mask.
Appeared this image, like Venom.
Ah. Spider-Man, yeah.
And people like the soul, subpersonalities, and blockages. All those three are in people's lives, in their routine, and they probably don't know what is the soul and what is not. So that's probably why they're attached to it because they think, oh, I'm going to cut out half my life now. I can't do that.
They cannot differentiate.
Well, in energy enhancement, we talk about these poor me and the Violator and the Star as sort of things that people can hide behind. I mean, how does the poor me affect this? I mean, what is the poor me?
Poor me is saying I'm having a bad day, this has just happened, that's just happened, getting kind of hoovering up energy through sympathy.
A bad life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the Violator?
Violator juices people of energy through anger and fear.
And what do you mean by juicing?
They use violence as a way to take people's energy because they're not getting their energy through meditation. So the soul split is cut off from the soul, so it has to get energy independently by itself, and so it uses a strategy like Violator or Poor Me or the competitive Star to get energy from people with soul energy who are they're not meditating, but they're getting it from an other energy source rather than the main one.
So, this subpersonality of yours, was that getting energy from people or was it just protecting you?
Which one?
Which one was it?
Well, it would have to be getting its energy from elsewhere because it's not connected to Ryan anymore. It is now, but it wasn't.
Yeah. So, what was its payback?
I don't know what strategy the twisted little kid was using.
He was using a lot. He was using
everything.
violence. He was using, well, I mean, no, not a lot. I didn't see a lot.
So it's more violating.
More violent.
Oh, okay.
More violent. More anger.
Yeah.
Or feeling of anger. But no very expressed. It was like a very content and repressed anger.
Ah.
But, because I feel you didn't express this anger, but I was feeling that anger inside.
So protection by using the Violator. Wow, that is a major soul split.
Yeah. And big life change
Yes,
in personality.
yes. And we were thinking about it as something else before.
We were talking together, not about this.
We were thinking about it as Mr. Perfect. But it wasn't.
Yes.
Well, I think Mr. Perfect might have been that past life where I was punished for something I didn't do, so then I maybe gave you like everything I do is right. King, kind of like a king idea, maybe, I don't know. Or it was both of those subs as one strategy, I don't know.
Very good. Okay,
Very good.
very good.
I don't remember very much about my session, so I'll need some help from both Lawrence and Ryan to fill in the gaps. But I know that we started, and the first thing Lawrence saw was I'm not sure what the right word is, so I'll say an entity or something in step 7. And he described that as a person that had locked themselves away in a self-imposed jail. And
Well, that was that
that
guy.
reminded me of a lot of times in my life where I seem to have limited myself by putting up boundaries, self-imposed boundaries on things I could do and couldn't do. So I could relate to this idea of this self-imposed incarceration. Yes,
Well, it was really an exile.
exile.
I just saw it like it was a cage, but it was an exile. And Ryan described it better.
I saw Lynne as a guy in, it felt like Greek, somewhere in Greece, I don't know what era, but I saw a guy that had just given up and had been exiled from society, and just society was just playing crazy. But once that had been grounded, I saw the word responsibility, but it was more like, because Lynne's got so much psychic skill and a God's eye view, that she has to kind of retake up that sword, like in King Arthur, and she has to, not in an arrogant way, but shut the kind of other people's ideas out, because before they shut her down. So she has to just go with her intuition and just do the right thing.
I don't understand the idea. Can you explain in a different way? Or maybe you?
I just felt like someone had given up with their destiny or helping the planet because society had kind of knocked them down so many times.
Give up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give up.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah.
And
gave up.
Yeah.
The
Gave up.
other thing he's saying is that we saw that Lynne, having come out of that, no longer being stuck there, could now use her considerable skills and powers directly and not worry that she was in exile and
About
she
the
was
consequence.
not. Yes, and what other people thought so much.
More freedom.
More freedom.
More
Yes.
freedom, that's
Yes.
a good
Yeah.
word.
And then the other blockages we dealt with were in the 4th step, and they were different Vows. And Ganesha, you saw them better, so maybe you can talk a little bit about them, because this is the part I don't remember very clearly.
Well, I saw a series of vows blocking the throat. So these are like thought forms that lock into the throat chakra. But once I cleared them, it was the thought forms in the throat. They felt like it created like a stress in the mind, like the mind was working overtime all the time. So it was actual genuine stress in someone's life. So if you know anyone who has loads of stress in their life, they might have tons of thought forms and vows in their throat, making them kind of stuck in their head. But when I grounded all the vows, there was the final one, which was a marriage vow, and it felt in a past life that Lynne had been either betrayed or at least heartbroken or deeply upset to some degree, and that created a base chakra blockage. And I saw it creating a lack of security and safety, and I saw tons of stress and acidicness in the stomach. And Lynne's had stomach issues at her stay at the ashram, so I'm hoping this is the final root blockage to that and the reason for it.
Fantastic.
So
That was very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
And I have tried to ground my base chakra a couple of times and have just gotten nowhere. Been completely distracted or fallen asleep or something like that. So this was a very positive experience for me today, and I really appreciate the energy that I received from Lawrence and Ganesha to help me do this.
Yeah. Because sometimes we need the help.
We do.
We do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And gratitude.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
We need gratitude. Because it's a big thing. It's a big gift that we're being given.
It is a big gift. It's a wonderful opportunity to have two friends to work with to ground these things, because I would not be able to get this
To do
deep
by yourself.
on my own. And Ganesha said the same thing with what we did for him, and I think Lawrence felt the same way, that what we did as a group would have been much more difficult to do as an individual.
Yeah.
No, I think it's impossible at this stage. I think it would be impossible to do it. There were so many things in my, and like you, I'm a little bit unclear on the details, but I was so, at the end of my session with you guys, my whole self was filled with light, and in fact I told you that the room was filled with light and that you guys were included in it, in this light, and I said maybe we should do one of these other groundings for someone else. But I do feel that like three people, that it's an incredibly powerful thing, because sometimes we work together on one thing, or sometimes we go to different places, so we have different points of view at the same time, and that seems to break things down much quicker as well. So it's not a simple thing, and we don't exactly know what's going to happen when we go into it at all, or what we're going to find. So I found it quite, it was extraordinary to have Lord Buddha come down into my stomach and adjust things, and then there were different beings, and this light that came at the end was like so bright and so big that I felt, and I could feel they were in this light as well, and that this is a way for us to go forward. We're a group anyway. Even if one of us is working, we're still a group. So
Very nice.
that's all I got.
So, what were they working on?
Do you want me to say and then you fill in?
Yeah, you tell me.
In step 7, I saw Lawrence bravely singing God's truth, so to speak, in like the Babylon times. And I say Babylon because my angels played like Pictionary or charades with me, and they gave me the idea of a baboon, which is close enough for me to know that what I was thinking felt right. And so I felt like he was really brave in saying that your tradition in this society is really bad during those times. And
You mean the satanic times of Babylon?
yeah, and I felt like hundreds of people kind of cornered him, and he went through like a really tragic kind of day and night with me, getting killed, tortured and killed, and so that then cut into his gut intuition. And I think in this life he's had physical problems with his stomach area, in that general area. So I always associate gut intuition with the solar plexus, And so I felt there was two things that were healing from this blockage. One was the solar plexus area. Another one was, it felt like a vibe of him having like a headstrong personality, or him feeling like he had a thought form in him like he wasn't right, or he was right or he was wrong, some extreme there. And so it gave him like a headstrong vibe in this life. And apparently he heavily researches things before he officially kind of talks about them, to make sure that he doesn't get persecuted like he did in that past life. There was many blockages and experiences he had where his solar plexus was getting healed. He had there was a moment where it felt like the Ascended Masters were downloading tons and tons and tons of information into him. Now that the block where he felt like he couldn't speak had gone, the Ascended Masters just gave him an epic download of information, which he's now going to give, hopefully, over this life to everyone. And I saw, I can't remember what chakra it was, but it felt like a meadow, and that meadow were flowers, blooming seeds.
Who is meadow?
A meadow is a field of flowers. So one of the chakras it felt like a meadow, and it had loads of seeds coming out of flowers, and those seeds were good thought forms and energy for it to go into everyone's energy fields and give good information. And there were, I can't remember, but there was other experiences he had where Ascended Masters were fixing things in his solar plexus, and I know he's had physical problems in his solar plexus in this life. So I saw a lot of things getting tuned. Oh yeah, I saw Buddha, they wanted, I felt like, as well as talking the truth, they wanted Lawrence to use his voice, his vibration, just literally a chant, however long he can hold it for, or however long he does it. It felt like the specific vibration he's going to give off in a chant is going to help make people recognize something, or it's going to feel really comforting for people. So I saw him talking and chanting from this throat chakra blockage removal. And he has like also a stomach, I think there's like a stomach tear, and I saw an Ascended Master go specifically to that point, and I felt the energy, the negative energy just dissolve it's like they were doing psychic surgery on him. So I'm interested now whether physically that's going to actually manifest.
Very interesting. Maybe you don't need to go.
Me too.
Operation. Good.
I'm really interested to see if that manifests. All these things that Ganesha said, I experienced a lot of these things internally. I could feel them happening. Even sometimes before he said something, I would say, I feel something there, and then he'd say, I'm seeing this. So when we're working together, often, this is one of the greatest things about it is that we see the same thing, or something we maybe from a slightly different point of view, but it's the same idea. And that makes you feel a lot more comfortable about how accurate your understanding of what you're seeing is.
The accuracy of your psychic vision.
Yes,
the accuracy of your third eye.
The accuracy of all of it together, because there's more than just that. There's sometimes you're thinking about it or whatever, and you have these ideas, and then then either Lynne or Ganesha will tell me, oh yeah, I see that too, or I think it's this, so it's not just seeing. No,
it's also downloads of information.
It's knowing. It's knowing. You know something that you didn't know before,
and then you get the feedback.
Yeah. That's right.
That feeling, that knowing, is correct.
Yeah, and then you trust it more.
Yeah.
Then even if that person isn't there, the next time you have that kind of a feeling, you go, oh yeah, I can trust that more.
Yeah.
But-
I've had a plug-in.
Yeah.
I've had a download.
I got a new HDMI cable.
And that you're connected, tuned in to the God force.
Yeah, that's where we'd like to get to. We all like to get to that. And working together seems to be a very powerful way to do that. And we wouldn't be able to do it without energy enhancement meditation, because this particular way of doing something is really only open to doing it in that way. I'm not saying that, obviously groups of people can meditate or chant together, and that's probably a very good thing, but this is much more powerful and directed. And sometimes removing things that I honestly don't believe would come out for the average person in a whole lifetime. I don't think they'd ever touch them. They're too deep.
Because energy enhancement is going to the root of the problem.
Yeah.
It's going to the cause. And this is the beautiful thing, no?
So how does it feel to have had psychic surgery done to you, Ganesha?
It's tiring, like I've just had a workout or something, or I've been on like a marathon or something, but I just know that food, sleep and meditation is going to help everything integrate. And I guess the results will manifest over a few days or a week or maybe longer. So yeah.
And what do you mean by integrate? You feel you've had a part of you which has been taken out, polished, and then put back.
Yeah, so soul split or subpersonality is where you've gone through trauma or disappointment and a bit of your soul's separated from the main chunk. It's no longer soul connected, and so it's now intellectually looking for energy by itself. And so it goes to another energy source, i.e. another person, and it takes the energy through a strategy. It could be poor me, violator, competitive style, infinity of strategies, infinity of games. And so in the session we found the subpersonalities in the 7-step method of the Enhancement meditation course. And we did the 7-stepping, we sent loads of light, which is what I find every time I heal a sub, it needs to be absolutely drenched in light, and I think the inside joke is you love it to death. Is that right? So you soak it in energy until it is. It's almost like, it's fusing back into the soul. So it's becoming more one with you again. It's kind of realizing it's separate, and then it becomes one. So what we did was we found our soul chips or splits, and we healed them enough so that they could then reintegrate into the soul, and they need loads of energy, almost like glue, to go back into our souls. So now our souls, I call it psychic bodybuilding. Your souls, like you're eating protein after a workout, and it's digesting it, integrating, you're becoming a bigger soul which has more information and energy.
And how does that relate to the Dark Crystal?
Oh, the Dark Crystal movie of Jim Henson. I know the protagonist finds a crystal which isn't it surrounded by, is captured by black magicians or blockages, and
Well, the crystal is not whole.
yes.
And there's a shard which has come out of the crystal.
Oh, okay.
And only when you put that shard back in the crystal can the crystal be whole.
Yeah.
And I was saying that these shards are your soul splits.
Yeah.
And so for the integration into one soul-infused personality, you need to take out each bit of the shard, polish it up, and then with energy put it back into the crystal, into the dark crystal.
Yeah, and there's many films that show soul splits, like Fight Club, where the main character has Brad Pitt popping up every so often, and it's a soul split. And you have Mr. Brooks, where Kevin Costner plays a character who's a serial killer, and he has this soul split popping up next to him in the car every few scenes, kind of.
I think that Dr. Pichenik referred to this soul split, this subpersonality, as the superego. And Revolver
shows many sides to one person through different characters, and Gollum in Lord of the Rings.
Sneaker and Slinker and Stinker.
yeah, he's talking to himself. And I can't think of any other movies which show soul splits or
the Six Faces of Eve.
Agent Smith, does he in The Matrix play?
Yeah, the Matrix. Yeah.
He's a demon who possesses everybody he comes into contact
But
with.
he also was the ego of Neo.
And then he fuses with him at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Soul fusion.
Yeah, and Neo at the end, when Smith defeat him, take over Smith by putting light, and every one of the Smith become on light because of Neo.
Yeah.
And it's a job or a game between the ego of Smith and Neo. At the end, Neo win because it take over Smith and all the light come through.
Yeah.
And also Smith is interesting when he take over the Oraculo. He took over the Oraculo.
The Oracle.
The Oracle. He took over the Oracle, and everybody become with the seat of the Oracle. And later, Neo take over Smith. And it's great.